Okay, have you ever noticed that the absolute second you share a piece of incredibly good news with everybody, the magic just kind of vanishes? It's almost like simply speaking it out loud totally ruins the vibe. Well, welcome to today's Explainer, where we're digging into an ancient, highly counterintuitive philosophy that breaks down exactly why this happens. Let's just dive right into this, because what we're about to explore is going to turn everything you thought you knew about sharing your feelings completely upside down.
So, we've all probably heard some version of this classic grandmother's wisdom, right? In so many cultures, the elders are always warning us, don't go tell everybody your good news or you're going to attract the evil eye, or nazar, as it's called in some places. But according to our source material today featuring Guru Pashupati, it's actually not just superstition. There's this absolutely fascinating, specific yogic mechanic behind why we shouldn't share good news, and it basically has everything to do with how we manage our own internal energy.
So let's get into the mechanics, the 4 levels of expression.
To really wrap our heads around this core yoga principle, we have to look at how we process information. There's basically a sequential climb to how we express our thoughts. We start way down at the bottom with speaking out loud, then we step up to thinking, step up again to visualizing, and finally we hit the peak at suppressing. And as you climb these steps, the energy doesn't just increase by a fraction, no, it scales up in a truly mind-blowing exponential way.
Let's start right at the bottom step with what's called Vaikari. This simply means speaking out loud. Now, according to this yogic principle, actually saying something produces the absolute lowest amount of energy. We're going to call this our 1x baseline. Basically, every single time you open your mouth to announce something, you are bleeding that energy right out into the world, which makes the thought or the news significantly less potent inside of you.
But here is where we see our first massive jump. If you just hold that thought in your head, like if you simply think about it instead of blurting it out, you immediately multiply its internal energy by 108. Keeping your mouth shut literally makes the thought 108 times more powerful. Just by letting it live quietly in your mind, you're actively hoarding that power.
And we escalate even further. If you take that thought and you start actively visualizing it, really seeing it in your mind's eye, you take that 108 multiplier and you multiply it by 108 all over again. That bumps you up to an absolutely crazy 11,664 times the baseline energy. The vividness of the image basically locks all that power right inside you.
Okay, brace yourself for the absolute peak. If you take an idea, a feeling, or some piece of information, and you actively suppress it, meaning you push it down and refuse to even think about it, its energy skyrockets. It hits 108 to the power of 3. We're talking over 1.25 million times the base level. Literally 1,259,712 if we want to be exact.
This colossal difference, just look at that exponential growth, is exactly why yogic practitioners keep certain mantras fiercely secret. In fact, our source points out that when people constantly beg him for details about his guru, Babaji, he literally keeps his mouth shut unless they're in his highly trusted inner circle. Why? Because speaking about it actually bleeds out the profound energy he holds regarding those experiences. Hoarding the secret is what protects its power.
Which brings us to the reversal, flipping the script on our emotions.
Because here's the catch. This colossal multiplier effect, it doesn't care if the emotion is good or bad. It doesn't distinguish. And that becomes incredibly dangerous when we apply it to the wrong emotions. Just contrast modern society's default setting with this yogic approach. Today, we express our joy constantly, right? We post every single achievement, vacation, and avocado toast online while hiding our fear and anxiety because we're ashamed of it. But the yogic approach demands the exact opposite. Hide your joy and express your anxiety.
And this right here is what we call the suppression trap. If you are silently hoarding your fear, your anxiety, or really any negativity, you're not making it go away. Not at all. According to this framework, you are secretly amplifying those toxic feelings by over 1 million times within your own body. By keeping quiet about your pain, you are taking a baseline negative emotion and turning it into an absolute energetic monster.
Okay, so what do we do about this? The application, how to handle your emotions.
Knowing this entirely changes the game, right? Here's your new operating manual. First, you have to bleed off that negative energy by speaking it out loud. But obviously, society judges us pretty harshly when we just walk around complaining all day, so the source suggests a brilliantly simple hack. Whisper your complaints. Just turn around to avoid judgment and get those negative words out of your body. And conversely, you must aggressively hoard your happiness. When something amazing happens, fight the urge to shout it from the rooftops. Keep it tucked away inside so it multiplies.
Our source actually gives this really practical, kind of quirky example. Imagine you're just filled with dread. Instead of suppressing it, you literally turn your back, lower your voice, and whisper under your breath, "I'm anxious. I haven't felt happy in 10 years." You just say it to the back of the room. By doing this, you instantly drop its energy all the way down to that 1x baseline. You safely disarm the negativity without ever having to face the societal backlash of being labeled a complainer.
Now, I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. You're wondering, okay, but where are the peer-reviewed papers? So, does it really need to be scientific to work for you? Our source is incredibly candid about this. He openly admits that modern science hasn't exactly discovered or validated this exact multiplier mechanic yet, but he makes a super compelling point. Even scientifically backed medicines, like paracetamol, don't actually work for every single person every single time.
Which leads me perfectly to this challenge for you. Do your own experiment. Seriously, be your own scientist. The absolute beauty of this explainer is that you can test this out today, right now, entirely for free. The next time you feel anxious, find a quiet corner, turn your back, and whisper your darkest complaints. And the next time you get an unexpected bonus or a massive win, swallow the urge to text everyone you know. Just let that joy multiply inside you. See if you personally experience that massive rush of relief and that sustained happiness. So, we've learned today that indiscriminately sharing your personal good news is essentially handing your power over to the universe. Which begs the question, what amazing piece of news are you going to keep completely secret today just to watch it grow? Now, while you absolutely should hoard your joy, remember that sharing this explainer does the exact opposite. It actually builds our community energy. So if you want to experiment with avoiding the suppression trap, drop a like, leave a comment about how this worked for you, share this with someone who really needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel so we can keep diving into these incredible concepts together. Catch you in the next one.